Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set.
Imagine being the talk of the basketball world, breaking records left and right, and then a legend of the game acts like you don't exist. That's what just happened to Caitlin Clark, and Stephen A. Smith is not having it. The shocking rejection of Caitlin Clark by Sheryl Swoopes was the spark that ignited this whole scandal, so let's talk about that. Queens of the Court, Swoopes' podcast, featured her gushing over the Indiana Fever staff. Erica Wheeler, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell were among the players she praised. However, the absence of Caitlin Clark was so noticeable that it left everyone bewildered.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off.
Oh, no.
Right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
I know what you're thinking. So what? One player was omitted from her remarks. But hear me out. We aren't talking about any old player here. In the Women's National Basketball Association, Caitlin Clark is creating a tsunami, not only waves. For crying out loud, she's got more assists than everyone else in the league. That is merely a portion of the entire story. Clark's influence extends much beyond the statistics. Arenas are being filled with her like never before. We're talking about completely sold out shows, with people waiting in line around the block to see her perform. It sounds similar to Beatlemania, but instead of guitar solos, there are crossover dribbles. Oh, hold on a second. A look at the ratings for television? Clark's presence on the court sends them soaring. This is a matter of unprecedented proportions. Millions of people are tuning in to watch her play because her fans just can't get enough. Then why did Swoopes exclude Clark from the discussion? This is more than an oversight. It's the same as if you were discussing the factors that cause plants to flourish and then completely left out the sun. That's how significant it is. Everyone is wondering now, was this really an innocent error? Just had a mental lapse and completely overlooked the most talked about rookie in recent memory, Swoopes? On the other hand, might this be all that's happening? You have to ask how a legend like Swoopes could have missed such a pivotal player. Does something unseen exist behind the scenes that could be causing friction? Does this youthful sensation who is taking over the spotlight make the more established performers feel threatened?
How much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say,
all around the basketball world, these questions are circulating and show no signs of going away. The future of the WNBA is riding on how the league deals with young, promising players like Clark. However, let us pause for a moment to put this in context. This is much more than simply a single player being left out of a podcast. Everything about women's basketball is changing, and we're not even noticing it yet. Not only is Clark an exceptional player, but she is also a sensation who is revolutionizing the game. How long has it been since a WNBA player generated this much interest? Someone who has never watched a single women's basketball game suddenly starts talking about assists and triple doubles. When was the last time that happened to you? The Caitlin Clark effect describes it. By doing so, she is enhancing the sport as a whole, not merely her own profile. For that reason, Swoopes' absence is highly significant. It's not enough to simply acknowledge contributions. We must also acknowledge the factors that will determine the game's trajectory in the years to come.
like, it's not about me liking you, not liking you, me hating on you. Like, on social media that like held it down for me, like, I got mad love and respect for all of them.
For the moment, let's focus on the figures. Do you want to know how serious of a mistake Swoopes made? Here is something you should look at. Games involving Clark are consistently breaking viewership records. Every time she gets on the court, millions of people watch her on television. A staggering 2.5 million people tuned in to watch Clark's first game with the Indiana Fever. That is revolutionary. Not merely good, it's the type of performance that gets TV execs excited. This is the type of statistic that might make networks reevaluate their coverage of women's basketball. Stephen A. Smith isn't merely furious, he is determined to rectify the situation. Upon learning that Sheryl Swoopes had excluded Caitlin Clark from the discussion, he did more than simply raise an eyebrow. Everyone is talking because he started a verbal storm. Smith was really direct. This he deemed Swoopes' failure to include as insane. It's absolutely mind-boggling, not to mention shocking or sad. You could just feel the pressure building up in his brow as he slammed this error. Why, though, is he so agitated? For openers, Smith made a somewhat glaring observation. How do you talk about the Indiana Fever and mention a multitude of players and not one of them is Caitlin Clark? It's the same as omitting Michael Jordan from a discussion about the 1990s Chicago Bulls. It is completely illogical. However, Smith's response is much more than simply one player being overlooked. There's a far greater issue at hand. A more systemic problem in the WNBA is being brought to light by him. Are famous people having a hard time seeing up-and-coming artists for what they are? Can we blame the league's lack of progress on a generational gap? These inquiries are not meant to be taken lightly. They are important to the WNBA's trajectory moving forward. According to Smith, recognizing young players like Clark isn't merely polite. It's essential to the development and prosperity of the league. Put it in your mind, impressive numbers aren't the only thing Clark is doing well. She's getting thousands of new admirers. She's getting more and more viewers every day. Her performance is capturing the attention of many who have never watched a WNBA game before. Put another way, she's increasing everyone's share of the pie. That is why the words of Smith are so significant. His defense is not limited to a single player. He's speaking up for the league's long-term prospects. Listen, we've got something unique here, he declares. How about we keep it simple? However, Smith's argument is not limited to statistics and popularity alone. He's getting to the heart of the matter when he talks about athletics and development. Sheryl Swoopes is one of the greatest players ever in the history of basketball, said Smith. He then revealed the truth. To be as accomplished as she is, there is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out. That hurts. There's more to it than that. For the established order, that poses a problem. Smith is insisting, you're capable of more than this. You are well aware of the significance of rising talent. Keep an eye on the future and don't be blinded by your legacy. Beyond Swoopes and Clark, this is a far broader issue. It concerns the way the WNBA manages its guard changes. This is a part of every sport. The league's founding fathers must make way for the up-and-coming players who will propel it to greater heights. The change, however, is not always seamless. The significance of this event for the WNBA is highlighted by Smith's fervent defense of Clark. Something monumental is about to happen in the league. More people are watching it now than in the past. Record after record is being shattered. However, for this momentum to be fully utilized, it is imperative that all parties involved be working together. That is the significance of Smith's remarks. His actions go beyond escalating tensions. He's advocating a change in perspective that might lead to unprecedented success for the WNBA. Consider the consequences. A potent synergy might be created if seasoned players like Swoopes completely embrace up-and-coming players like Clark. Just picture the accumulated knowledge and insight of the elders joined with the enthusiasm and fresh ideas of the youth of today. That's going to lead to skyrocketing expansion. Take a step back and examine the broader view for a moment. There's more at stake than a single comment or player in the feud between Stephen A. Smith and Sheryl Swoopes. It has brought to light some major tensions that have been building up in the WNBA. There's the founding fathers, the living titans who put this league on the map. Women's basketball wouldn't be where it is now without their selfless sacrifices. However, a slew of fresh talent has recently emerged, and it's causing a sensation. No, Caitlin Clark is much more than that. What a remarkable woman. Even people who have never watched a WNBA game before are becoming her fans. Record after record, she breaks. However, the question that really matters is the league prepared to handle a talent like this? Put it in your mind. Supporting one another and working as a team has long been a tenet of the WNBA, but now you have a player who is the center of attention. The league's culture could be threatened, according to some. Some could see it as a game changer that would propel women's basketball to the highest level. As a result of this scandal, the WNBA will have to examine itself in the mirror. What are they going to do with all this fresh talent? How can they keep both the past and the future in mind while yet paying homage to the legends? These aren't simple questions, but the league must find answers to them soon. Because the truth is that the WNBA is facing a turning point. The number of people watching them is at an all-time high. They have an unprecedented opportunity to burst onto the scene. However, they risk losing this fantastic chance if they aren't careful. Think of the consequences if the league isn't united in recognizing its young talents. A chasm was beginning to open up between the two schools. A schism could form in the fan base as supporters take sides. The worst case scenario is that new viewers feel the WNBA is too mired in its past to attract them. However, that is not necessary. Actually, the WNBA might be about to enter a new golden age of popularity and success if this happens. Imagine this: veterans of the game welcoming the next wave of fans, elders mentoring newcomers by sharing their knowledge and insights. The number of new admirers attracted by rising talents is in the thousands. The league's members are collaborating to produce an ideal synthesis of heritage and progress. No, that's more than that. It may hold the secret to the WNBA's ultimate success. All night long, arenas are selling out, television viewership skyrocketing, products moving quickly through the inventory, similar to the widespread interest that men's sports have had for many years. However, the way the league deals with situations like these sets the tone. Would you say they embrace the limelight or try to avoid it? Would they rather try to quell the excitement surrounding athletes like Caitlin Clark, or would they rather ride the wave? Seemingly, the solution seems obvious. All of the WNBA's stars, past and present, deserve support. The phenoms who are expanding its reach and the luminaries who laid the groundwork deserve recognition, because you don't bury a player's brilliance like Caitlin Clark when she brings in millions of fans to your league. You make it the center of attention and allow it to sparkle. This goes beyond a single season or player. Let's talk about women's basketball's future. The goal is to establish a league that rivals any men's sport in terms of viewership and esteem. Plus, this is the closest the WNBA has ever come to reaching their objective. Stephen A. Smith's response may therefore appear extreme. It may not appear significant that Sheryl Swoopes was left off.